Yeah, it's a fascinating situation. Um, so it's earnings season. I don't even have, I've been too busy writing software, so I don't have a ton of, haven't been keeping up with the public markets. But we can do little of that tonight. Um,
Did you guys notice that YouTube's cracking down on ad blocker?
yeah.
Yeah, it pisses me off. I'm trying to find ways around it.
To be honest.
That's
Like,
probably good for the
YouTube can
earnings.
go fuck itself. I'll find other places to go hang out.
I'm trying
If
to
I'm gonna be a
figure
bitch
it
about
out,
it.
bro. To the best ones already.
It's gonna be hard to find a YouTube alternative, I think.
Yeah.
We don't have all the copyright stuff that YouTube does.
Wow, Stellaris.
And also the platform is losing money, right? Nobody is willing to host anything like that.
Like if Google charged $1 a month to use Google search, would you pay it?
Yeah.
I think we would all pay it in a second.
Yeah. There's not that much I want on there anymore. They've taken away all the fun stuff.
Yeah, well, they use it $1 a month, but you can't buy a lifetime for $100.
There's other places you can go find content. Like I found tons of free movie streaming sites. Every movies.
Yeah,
I mean,
once
it's really-
movies.com, we're gonna like fucking plot them up in a VPN to access the Malaysian servers. I mean,
You have streaming torrent services. You don't even need to download torrent.
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
no, but those sites are full of like fucking ads and like.
No, it's not.
Trojans.
There's an app called Premium. It's an app basically.
Oh, an app. How was it?
There's a lot of Trojans on there. But yeah, anyway, yeah. Looking at J&J, it's amazing Stellara has become a more than $10 billion run rate. It's going to be a top 5 drug on the planet. I don't know if anybody out there takes Stellara, but amazing
What is
medicine.
that?
It's a psoriasis drug. It's an antibody. And now Spravato, the intranasal ketamine, is almost a blockbuster too. Everyone dogged this drug.
So you were messing with it before.
Yeah. Everyone was dogging this
I
drug.
don't see how that has any medical value at all, that ketamine shit, but who knows?
Everyone was dogging it, saying it wouldn't sell, but you know, it is a bit of a breakthrough. It's one of the first
It's
new.
not addictive, which is always a good thing, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's got some downsides, but it's not no drug. It's not the perfect drug, that's for fucking sure. It is very toxic in many different ways, and it's also it's very short acting.
Yeah, it's got a crappy half-life.
And the side effect side is you've got addiction, right? You've got, it's not really a half-life thing. I'll explain that in a second. It is and it isn't. But yeah, so on the toxicity side, you can't imagine how many issues this drug has. Addiction, it's got dissociative symptoms, right, the K-hole. And then it's got bladder and urethra toxicity. So you've got 3 really nasty side effects that limit it to only doctor's office use. Intranasal doesn't make it any worse than intravenous. It's in fact a bit safer to do an intranasal because you're doing a very low dose. But it does work. It does work rather well. But the duration of treatment is naturally short because you take the sniff once and then you're not supposed to take it for months, and of course it wears off. You know, most medicine you have to, kind of keep taking. But ketamine's kind of too dangerous to do that. So, ketamine is...
Treat doses are ridiculously high compared to the clinical doses.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's exactly right. So let's see. There's Carvicti, which is a new cancer drug. It's a so-called CAR T drug. And here's Darzalex. So J&J has two $10 billion drugs. And if you told anybody that Darzalex for multiple myeloma would ever be a $10 billion drug, everyone would laugh at you. And then here it is, one of the biggest drugs on the planet.
What do you think about the hepatitis C medications?
Well, they're mostly have fallen off because all the people that need to be cured have been cured of it.
I have some meds right now in my house.
Yeah, you have Hep C? It's
How
a
much did you pay for them?
yeah, they're insured, but the let's see here. I think I've got
Shooting arrow.
yeah, it's a tough it's a very easy treatment now, which is great. It used to be really, really bad. I remember when Hep
They
C.
need to be off from drugs in that period.
Well, I remember Hep C. You used to have to take interferon, which is like this really toxic medicine, and now it's just a bunch of pills and no side effects. Just really easy.
What did that shit do to you?
Hep C destroys your liver.
No. The interferon medicine.
Oh, interferon used to give you this like flu-like symptom. It's like a real long-term, vicious kind of flu-like symptom, and depression and all this other stuff. It's like, and you had to do it for 48 weeks. What's up, Justin? Happy birthday. I did lose my father. Thank you for asking. Thank you.
What do you think about the opioid medicines?
Oh, they're very effective for people who are in pain. They're needed. You know, it's people don't understand how important opioids are to the armamentarium of physicians that rely on opioids. There are just not that many other ways to treat pain, and pain is a serious condition. I mean, you know, people who have cancer pain, people who have
Mental pain, physical pain, spiritual pain.
that's another story. But for people that have surgeries and things like that, you know, it's kind of important to be able to prescribe opioids. And now, because of, you know, some bad actors and some other circumstances, you know, doctors are very afraid to give opioids. I met a lot of doctors in jail that, you know, that were on the dark side, you know, of this kind of stuff. And, you know, you don't want to be accused of irresponsible prescribing and stuff like that. Big question about COVID vax. I've been vaxxed at least a dozen times. I've gotten Moderna twice. I got the Pfizer BioNTech twice. I got the J&J, the AstraZeneca. I got boosted. I traveled to China to get their vaccine. I'm fucking ready. I got Sputnik.
Yeah, like I was like thinking, like, what the fuck, bro?
Need that. I just take them every week. I ain't letting COVID get me.
You want free starter, man. I was about to say, some of us have had really bad reactions to the vaccine.
Heavily vaxxed. Trashy the cat is coming to my home. My dad used to take care of Trashy. Now without my father, there's nobody to take care of poor Trashy. So I'm going to take care of that little... She's going to come here. She's an old lady now. She's going to be really upset. I can't hear you too good, but my father died of a heart attack just a few weeks ago, and about a month ago now, and it was yeah, very, very terrible. But yeah, Trashy needs a new home. You know, She's got a, my dad was just taking care of her while I was in jail, and she really, really liked my dad, but unfortunately he's gone. We put some pictures, I think we put one of Trashy's toys in the coffin to send him off. He loved that cat. And yeah, very sad stuff, but my dad used to watch me stream. I don't think Trashy and Nibbles are going to get along. I really don't, but at the end of the day, Nibbles is a newborn baby, basically. Trashy's an old, kind of curmudgeon lady cat. She's very old. She don't like anybody. She's just not a fun or funny cat. She just is really serious all the time. She just doesn't like to play. She doesn't like to joke. She can be very lovey-dovey if and only if, it takes a long time to kind of gain her trust. And my father... Nah, I don't think so. Good question. Osteo, what's up? I don't know. I think she's at least 10. But I don't know for sure. She was kind of like 6 when I had her, so she's maybe 11 or 12. I don't know. But yeah, we always thought we'd lose Trashy before we lost Dad, and that was really sad and surprising. But you don't get to choose when it's time. It's one of those things, right? And
Life sucks, come fuck. Or how it goes.
it's really sad. I'm happy. I got, 40 years with my father, some of which I don't remember, of course. But I got to know my dad. Got to meet him. And some people didn't have that luxury, and I'm very lucky for that. But it still doesn't make it feel a whole lot better. It's very frustrating. And but it also, we said, I mean, it helps you remember that, good things that you do have in life. So Johnson & Johnson sold off its consumer business. I was looking futilely for their consumer revenue. They sold it off they spun it out. So J&J no longer makes Band-Aids. They no longer have Neutrogena. They no longer make baby powder. All that stuff is gone. They spun it off, and J&J is just a drug and medical device company now. I never thought this would happen, but it finally did.
Just a question. How exactly is ketamine works?
Great question. Scientists around the world are puzzled by it. Nobody's really sure. It's allegedly an NMDA receptor antagonist. The NMDA is the
It literally separates a certain part of your brain from another part of your brain.
yeah. So I'm the expert in this. Thank you very much. It's all right. Nobody's really sure how ketamine works. It's canonically an NMDA receptor antagonist, which is the glutamatergic system of the brain. Glutamate is a neurotransmitter. And by blocking this NMDA channel, there's an ion channel that allows the permeation of cations into cells in the brain. So by blocking that, there's some kind of response. We don't really know a lot about how the brain works to begin with. Some people speculated that the dissociative properties of ketamine were responsible for its antidepressant effect, and that, in fact, is not true. They've proven that that's not the case. But other NMDA receptors don't seem to cause antidepressant. So, there are a number of mysteries about ketamine, and some perhaps will never be solved. But I do think eventually we'll figure out what is going on and understand it better.
It
I've
also
heard
talks
that
about...
ketamine damages your kidneys in the long run.
your bladder. And your kidney. Like, you'll have to get a false bladder.
What's it doing to your bladder?
It's got some very odd idiosyncratic toxicity to your bladder and urethra. It's very odd, but it's definitely a real thing. If you take it at large doses consistently, you will get bladder tox. But with this intranasal dose, with low dose and intermittent dose, it's very safe. This drug has been FDA approved for 50 years, so it really is not like this unknown entity. But when it's abused, it can have some very serious side effects.
What about dopamine reuptake inhibition side of ketamine?
Yeah, DRIs are not really thought to be antidepressants, right? So that's the first thing I'd say. There's no DRIs that have ever been approved for depression. There's no really DRIs approved in general other than ADHD drugs. So, ketamine, I didn't think it was thought to be much of a dopamine receptor reuptake inhibitor. Not receptor, but reuptake inhibitor. Ketamine is not related to MDMA.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. It's probably NMDA related. Not MDMA, NDMA, which is Yeah, go ahead. NMDA is a receptor in the brain.
What about Ozempic? Did you hear that Walmart's earnings were down like 2% on their like fucking Doritos and Cheetos and shit? I think it's Ozempic. Everyone's taking Ozempic and being less fat.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I love it. I think it's, Ozempic is affecting almost every single publicly traded company. That's like some impact to Ozempic. So if you're an airline company, you're making more money because people are lighter. If you're Hershey's, it's a fucking disaster.
But it's not even that new of a drug, right? Or isn't it like 5 years old or something?
It is. It is.
Recently started.
Yeah, these things. GLP-1s have been around forever. I remember when GLP-1 was discovered.
I heard that Ozempic has like a side chain or something. It's like a slightly nuanced.
Yeah, no, they're all.
It actually is more effective.
They're all nuanced. There's a whole class of like these GLP-1 analogs that have different, long-acting mechanisms and things like that to make them.
Is it accurate to say like if you go on a caloric deficit, you probably lose 80% fat and like 20% muscle. But when you take these GLP-1s, isn't it almost like 40% muscle, 60% fat? Like you're kind of like taking out your muscles or something?
I don't know. I mean,
Sounds pretty weird.
they suppress your appetite, so if you...
I thought I heard they kind of go after your muscles more. It seems like skinny fat. Like you're not actually fat. Yeah, seriously, I agree. But I mean, you're like a 700-pound American.
There aren't too many people who are 7. Thankfully, there aren't too many of those. But yeah, people who are 250 can get to, 200 or 180 pretty quickly with Ozempic, which is great. But it's also very expensive. It's such a very expensive drug. So ultimately, we're creating groups of haves and have-nots. I'd rather not discuss that at the moment, given my father's passing. Just want to respect.
Well, ask them wasted every single one of their severity. Every time. It's weird. Yeah. So Martin, what's your opinion on Purdue Pharma?
Well, I mean, they're mostly out of business now,
Purdue,
right?
yeah.
They're kind of out of business, aren't they? I mean, they're not really a company anymore.
Yeah, but they used to make like a lot of fucking money on like mistreating of people.
Yeah, not really.
Minor brothers. I'm talking about oxycodone, for example.
Not really. They never were a big drug company. I mean, they had one drug, and it was like, 1/4 of one Johnson and Johnson drug was more revenue than their entire year.
Oxycontin wiped out like all of Appalachia, basically. Appalachia.
Well, there's a lot of kinds of opioids. Legal, illegal.
Those OC80s, bro, and Opanas, like they destroyed, like, bro.
But isn't Appalachia like kind of destroyed anyway? I mean, let's be honest.
No.
Those people live in like tree houses.
Not like it is now, bro. They don't. My family comes from there, bro. I know what it's like there.
Did you live in a tree house?
No, I know what it's like. A lot of them do live in trailers, though. They don't live in tree houses.
What the fuck?
But
I think this idea of like diseases of despair is very interesting. It's interesting that Imbruvica has just dropped in revenue for quite a while now. But anyway, diseases of despair I think is a real thing. Like people who are depressed, they can't find jobs, things like that. They turn to drugs. This is not uncommon at all, I think, and very sad. Ooh, I'm editing the wrong row. Okay.
and a lot of them, they sold them too. Like they would go and get like fucking like crazy amounts and like going doctor shopping, basically what you were talking about earlier. They would sell them. Now and be there.
Yeah, I mean, doctors should know better, and they should have followed the Hippocratic Oath better. I don't think it's all Purdue's fault, when a doctor's running around writing prescriptions to patients he knows don't need opioids.
Right.
I mean, to just blame.
They really didn't. I don't think they thought it was that bad. Like, they really didn't at first. I don't think they predicted what was going to happen. They did a good job.
I think they just wanted to make money.
I have to learn Unity, I really do.
What?
Yeah, we were doing it in JavaScript, which, that's my home language.
Nice.
But once we went to Unity, I'm cooked. So I think we're gonna hire another Unity expert. We put out a tweet.
I'm a Unity expert, bro.
Okay. We put out a
Yeah, you certainly look like that. Super.
Unity, C#, etc.
Are you using C# for the backend?
Well, that's Unity is C#. So the backend, we're using this interesting thing called Fishnet, I think it's called, and it's basically a Unity. How should I put it? It's a server for Unity. I mentioned Agora. Fishscale. It is called Fishscale. I didn't want to call it Fishscale because I thought that sounds like a drug thing. Ghostface Killa, for example. But yeah, it is Fishscale. I thought it was Fishscale.
Cocaine.
Yeah, exactly, right. And so I know Giannis, the developer, is working on he's doing audio today. He's doing sound effects and sound, and he's been programming that a lot. But we do need music, and obviously we got a composer lined up for that, and we need to start thinking about some of that stuff. What exactly do we want it to sound and look like? And then yeah, the art is sort of all just like kind of temporary for now. So League of Legends V1 was very ugly until they started working harder on the productions, certain
Right.
production. So the what you see through the art now is like very limited. I think our goal is just to sort of get a game up and get it sort of massively multiplayer. But we have a schedule for all the game mechanics like hiding and attacking and casting and armor and all this stuff. So, now that the game seems to scale and stuff like that, it's I feel pretty good about it. And there are a bunch of other secret features that'll make it very different from all the other games out there. And I think the web, is a big advantage. I think getting people to play a game on the browser is a lot easier than getting people to get Steam and does this game work with my computer and all this and all that. You have this really low barrier of
I think
entry.
if it does get popular on browser, you should put it on Steam though.
What's that?
If it does take off on browser,
Yeah,
should
you
put it
can,
on Steam.
thanks to Unity, we can compile to PlayStation, Xbox, Steam, mobile, you name it. That's the nice thing about Unity is it all is cohesive. So yeah, we'll have a console, maybe even have a console game. But yeah, there's going to be some really nice features that going to make it very fun to play. The most important thing about any game is it fun, and that's our job is to make sure it's fun. I read Sid Meier's biography. Who
is Sid Meier?
Sid Meier created a game called
Civilization.
Civilization. I been following John Carmack my whole life. I think I know a little bit about how to make a fun game, but there's also a bunch of books that I like to read about psychology, because a lot of these games are about psychology, and I've read a little bit about how do you sort of speak to certain players, the collectors, the button mashers, there's so many different kinds of players. They're all like looking for different things from different games.
I'm looking for a game that has it all.
Well, that's hard because you have to make trade-offs. But it's hard to satisfy a hardcore gamer and a casual gamer.
I've been really fucking with a game called Scum, bro. Recently, it's like Daisy. Rust,
I heard of it, yeah.
fucking all
I've played that game as well. It's really good.
Yeah, you just have to kind of balance and also know your audience. At the end of the day, you can't be everything to everyone. I mean, it's you can't make a game that's casual and easy to play, but also satisfies a hardcore gamer.
Right.
The hardcore
But
gamer
also-
wants.
There's
played,
Minesweeper. So.
Project Zomboid, which is a 2D fucking.
The hardcore gamer wants that a split decision, 1 second off, is the difference between winning and losing. Casual gamer doesn't want to lose their progress. They want to just kind of chill and have fun and socialize. So I think this game will be much more social, much more chill, a lot less hardcore. But it will have a steep skill cap. A lot of the problems with the casual games is that you basically have enjoyed the whole game within half an hour. And you have the game's community carries the game. In our game, I think there's going to be a lot of content that you can explore and enjoy. So we want to have replay value that often doesn't exist in these casual games, without necessarily making it this like super addicting game that makes it so that you never want to log off. Because I think those games are fairly toxic as well, and you get. I mean, it's a positive asset from a business perspective, but it's.
No, get him addicted. Get him addicted to a slot machine game.
Well, exactly. Those are the types of Candy Crush type games, and they're not. It's very competitive, those games, and Chinese.
Probably Market Fit.
I mean, look at the dude who made Cookie Crusher, bro.
A lot of Chinese companies make those kinds of games. I'd rather make something like a Roblox or a Terraria. In fact, our main dev here is a huge Terraria fan. That's
I love Terraria.
yeah, he's sort of his main inspiration. I like Civilization a lot, so in some ways it's like somewhat of a merger between Civ and Terraria, but we'll see.